Right? Okay, then. We'll go on to my good point. Right? I'm very specifically on this not going to talk about his team because that'll be one of the other points. Here's the way I'm going to frame m0NESY's play right now. Right? I like anyone who's the best player in the world. Like, people don't know this. I like ZywOo. What I don't like is annoying French people who aren't ZywOo telling me everything about ZywOo. That I don't enjoy too much. ZywOo's play, straight fire, isn't it? But even though this year he's had a few slip-ups, but enough about his t-shirt. But anyway, that's, by the way, that's just fucking embarrassing, mate. That's just embarrassing that you'd even put that picture on the internet, you absolute clownery. So, okay. But then again, I guess his management have been known to get tricked a few times. Anyway, enough about that, right? So what I'm going to say about m0NESY goes like this. This is the only player ever who actually scratches the itch if you were a fan of m0NESY or s1mple. It's the only player to ever play counter. Nobody else was like that. Like I said, Guardian was an unbelievable orca. It wasn't at all like m0NESY's style. When people like ZywOo came along, yeah, he might have been the best player. He wasn't s1mple though, because what we love about s1mple is this. s1mple, the reason why I think everyone who isn't a ZywOo fan acknowledged him as the GOAT of Counter-Strike, all versions, by the way, is because he didn't just put up the numbers that are impossible. He did. He didn't just win 1 million MVPs. He did. He didn't just win the major with the high streak. He did all those things while playing one of the most aggressive brands of Counter-Strike ever fucking witnessed. Like, he really is the guy where, it turns out he was like 2 or 3 years late. If like Valve told me they had some sort of Warhammer 40k scryer who saw into the future and they knew s1mple was coming and that's why they nerfed the AWP in 2015, I'd actually go, you know what, fair play then, you're right. You actually did need to do that. Because I've not only always said he would have been insane on the pre-nerf AWP, but bro, he did use it like a shotgun after the nerf. He was using those no-scopes. Like, I told you, I always said to him, mate, whatever technique you're using for training, no one's even trying it because no one's even going for the jumping no-scopes you go for, but you're hitting them all. Like, so I've never seen any player that came close to that. But m0NESY right now, he had flashes of it before when he'd hit a great shot. His actual game now is like fucking s1mple's, mate. The aggression level, the willingness to go into any multi-kill scenario. Like, he also literally uses the AWP. Like, he doesn't understand it's a ranged weapon and you want to, like, sort of get back on people. Like, this guy doesn't give a fuck. There's only 5 bullets in the clip, guys. He's just going to get 2 or 3 kills with it. And he even has that thing, finally, which is super dope, which is now you actually see the other players in the server all know he's that fucking dude, and I don't want to get into a fucking duel with this guy. We're like avoiding him. If possible, by the way, it's like the old Kobe thing. Let's just let the rest of the team fucking go off. We'll just rush to their side. We're not fucking going with this, guys. When you get to that status, there's not many people have ever been there, guys. Maybe Donk's going to get there, but like, it was like s1mple, maybe ZywOo, Nico back in the day. These are the only players that you literally see where they are on the map and go, I'm calling mid-round, go to the other side. Like, that's the only players you do. This guy deserves that status. So it's not just that he's the best player for me. It's that I actually finally, I mean, I've been waiting ages for s1mple to come back. Obviously, m0NESY is never coming back. It's just cool to have a player that is like the ultimate playmaker and can be the best while also being a showman. I think that's dope.
Yeah, for me, m0NESY is in the rare category of players where even if it's 1 versus 5, even if he's like on a deagle, there's always, there is that glimmer of hope that he can pull something off. And there's only a few other players that can do that. ZywOo, s1mple, and Nico. Basically, like, it happens a lot when you see Nico on a pistol round and it's like 1 versus 4 and the other team is just like hiding. No one even wants to try and take a duel against him because they know that he can completely turn the round on his head. m0NESY has that same aura, that same vibe where if he has an AWP, a deagle, a pistol and a pistol round, he can turn the round in his favor because not only does he have the technical and mechanical ability, but he's just very smart. He knows, you know, it's no secret that he studies the game at a very fine level like ROPS, but he just, the way that he abuses his knowledge to put himself in situations. I mean, case in point, when he throws that Molotov, you know, against on Dust 2, and Anders famously calls it, oh, he throws a random Molotov, but like m0NESY just knew that he'd be able to see over it, obscuring the vision of his opponent, and he'd be able to take a duel in his favor. That's just what he does, and his ability to play make, and with the most influential gun in the game, the AWP, makes it all that much better. You know, there's consequences of using an AWP, but with m0NESY, it just seems like there are no consequences. He's just a beast. He's going to turn the game on its head in his favor no matter what. And you don't get that vibe from a lot of players. When you watch m0NESY, it's just like, okay, when he has this gun in his hands, there's a chance that he just completely carries and wins the game no matter what.
It's so disappointing right now that G2's in the state that they are when m0NESY is this good, because it just feels like you're getting so frequently these wasted performances, and I feel like maybe people are even wondering, like, why do so many pundits in the space get so frustrated with G2? It's mostly actually because of m0NESY. It's just like, if getting this guy's talent, like, there's no other real player I could say you put him on any other team in the world and he improves them. Like, anybody. Like, I don't really think, like, even a player of Donk's caliber maybe is the only one that's coming up to this. Maybe ZywOo in some ways too, but like, you could put m0NESY for every other opper on every single other team, and I would be, with the lone exception of those two other players, I would just take m0NESY for Brokey. I take m0NESY for Wonderful. I take m0NESY for Torzy. I take m0NESY for like every opper on practically every other team. I would even take him for Shiro on Spirit. I would take m0NESY for Shiro on Spirit. I think the team gets better. That it's just, it's some people just throw out the term superstar too liberally, and I almost want to reserve it, because how could you put somebody else in this tier when m0NESY is already occupying it? Like, I don't want it to be a crowded group of superstars. Like, again, Donk, ZywOo, that's it for me right now. I don't see anybody else on these other teams that is doing what he's doing. In a fun way, Brokey's kind of showing something like it lately. He's actually kind of getting there, but it's still not the same level of consistency. It's still not the same with every single rifle, and it's still like Brokey's doing it with a team that's winning around him. And so, in an unfortunate way, it does feel like I slightly do diminish the accomplishment, because it's like there's a win by committee that is also going through Brokey, whereas right now it's m0NESY versus the world. So maybe we're gonna marvel a little bit more at how drastically better m0NESY is than the rest of his team, whereas somebody like Brokey, it's just a little bit harder for me to give him all of the credit, because if you're winning games with FaZe 13-5 anyways, like, I'm not sure, was that Frozen that was dropping a bomb? Was that actually the random rain performance? Was it Rops just locking his stuff down? But it's like, when it's m0NESY, he's doing absolutely everything for this team. He's rotating everywhere he can. He's trying to win every single clutch that he can, and his utility usage in late round situations has ascended. It's like, but in the beginning of m0NESY, when he was first joining G2, one of the things I remember noticing is that, like, a lot of his incredible clutches were based off of pure gun work and the occasional, like, okay, that was like a nice little piece of utility, but now it is that he is finding more tricks than anybody across all of the maps. And so if you give him a single grenade, a single flash, a single smoke, single molly, you're going to find out in a moment's notice the best way you could possibly use that while pushing skill to the absolute limit that CS2 has to offer. So m0NESY right now is, by and large, the best player in the world. I know the debate was there earlier with Donk, but it's unfortunately, we just aren't seeing enough from Donk. Like, he's not playing Pro League. We're going to see him smurf against some people again. He might be the best out there, but like, at the same time, one thing I will say, Donk can't op like m0NESY, but m0NESY can rifle incredibly well. Even when he has a rifle, I still expect greatness, and he so frequently delivers it.
He almost fucked up there. He wanted to complete the symmetry and say, and then, but m0NESY can rifle like Donk, but even he knew then, shut my mouth, how dare I say that before the devil catches me out. Yeah, exactly. At least you pulled it back. By the way, people don't know, the episode I did of Feed the Trolls, which came out today with Tech Girl and Launders, isn't actually about who's the best now with Donk and m0NESY. It's trying to predict like who'll be the best overall. And spoiler, I'll give you some fourth wall shit on that. I actually even said at the beginning, I just offered Launders, you could pick either of them, mate. Like, you can make the case for either. Like, obviously it's so debatable, isn't it? Like, there's not really an obvious answer. It's just they're in different places in their careers. See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.